the importance of water testing your newly, whether it be built or acquired aquarium state. Hi everybody, welcome again to another episode of Fish Keeping Jamaica. Welcome to my channel. My name is Raleigh. I deal with ornamental fish keeping, fish care, breeding, keeping and treating, and tilapia breeding, keeping and treating. Okay, so today I'm going to be looking at a fundamental topic in which I don't see much persons doing on, but a lot of novice, a lot of newbies, beginners, as far as fish keeping is concerned, like oblivious to some of the things that I'm going to be sharing regarding your new aquarium. Okay, so you went to a pet shop or wherever you went, whether it be on an auction or someone actually gave you an aquarium, right? And the first thing you do is you just wash it out and start to fill the water with the anticipation that you're gonna be putting fish within the space, whether it be immediately after it is filled with the use of water conditioner or stress coat. Right? Here is the error. You can't be doing that without checking the aquarium to see whether or not it has leakage. Now, leakage within your aquarium can come in varied forms. It can come with a gushing hole at the side where you have the water spraying out, or it can come in the form of drips, right? Meaning that it just slowly drip, and sometimes you don't realize it until you have actually added the water, and then now you add the substrate and you had everything and you put in the fish, and then you realize the drip. And this is the reason why you need to do very good aquarium water testing, right, for leakage. Now, I do the building of aquarium, and this is a 60 gallon in which I have built recently. It has a black tinted background. It is 50 by 18 by 18. Yes, when you do the maths, it's about 58 point something gallon, and the gallon can vary depending on where you're at, whether you're in UK or in the United States. The gallon measurement is totally different. Okay, I have been having problems with this aquarium for the past 2 days. It was supposed to be delivered today. I might deliver it still, but I am just doing water testing again to see if the corrective measures in which I took had actually worked. Okay, so here's the thing. Normally the corners of the aquarium experiences a lot of pressure because you have three glass meeting at an intersection, and you have it is now prone for leakage. And so in an attempt to ensure that there is no leakage, a little extra silicone is usually placed at the four ends of the aquarium. And sometimes you're doing aquarium, and this is for persons who do DIY aquarium. Sometimes you're doing aquarium and you have what you call a air bubble. Now, I had a few at the corners here, right? And the air bubble, it so happens that upon finalizing the curves, it seems as if one of the R2 of the air bubbles actually burst, and I had a gushing leak at the side. What I had to do, guys, is not to take the silicone and just placed over the section that is leaking. I had to take a razor blade, yes, a razor blade, right, and I had to clean off every single piece of silicone that was at the side, and then now I had to rebead it with the silicone and allow it to dry for about 48 hours, and then I can do the water testing. Mark you, 48 hours is not time enough for it to 100% be cured. When it is cured, the silicone is hard and it's considered impenetrable. if applied properly to the surface by water. Okay, so I used a different silicone that I normally use on my aquariums. This silicone is used to, well, it's used within the industry in Jamaica that looks at, that does windows, right? So they do windows like these. Right, this is the window in my garage, right, at my house, my yard, right? So I decided to use this one. But what happened with this silicone, guys, is that this silicone, well, it says general purpose, right? But this silicone, it dries very quickly. I mean, in a couple of seconds. So by the time I actually went one stripe up, right, what I found is that it starts to get clear and dry, and then when I come back again to do another stripe up again, that's where the air bubbles were formed and I had leakage, so I had to clean, and I had to do that about 2 times. Right now, doing the building the aquarium, right, I have to be cognizant that not only the silicone must be applied properly to the aquarium, but it must look aesthetically pleasing, right? It must look good. So upon doing the silicone for this section, guys, it looked too uneven. So I had to again take the razor blade and I had to remove everything here and reapply the silicone, and again wait a few more days for it to be able to get water and to do the water testing. Now this is the hose for my yard, right, guys? So what I do is, with the hose, I would normally like at the side, and the side imitates the pressure in each well. It kind of imitates the pressure in each aquarium. Well, not fully, but in a way. So I place it here at the corner, checking for leak. There's no leak, right? And I do that for all 4 sides. Now it's gonna be filled in, but I don't want any unexpected guys. So I do that for all the sides. Like observe at this side, instead of filling up the entire we call it 60-gallon aquarium and then realize that there's a little dripping at the side. I do this first, right? And then now I can say, okay, yes, it's good. And then now I allow it to be filled to the top. I let it sit there for a few hours, and then now I do the assessment. Normally I would probably place some amount of newspaper at the base of the aquarium so as to ensure that I can actually see. As you see with the floor is yellow, right, guys? Now this water splash is when I was doing I was going up and down with the hose, so it actually splashed over, right? But I have to ensure that the splash is from that, and so I have to go for something to dry the side of the aquarium. So yeah, I go for a piece of cloth, dry the aquarium just to ensure that there's no leakage at the side. And you're not supposed to feel sometimes you have things leaking, but it is so small, minute, that you only feel your hands like getting sweaty with the water. Right? Not supposed to have that feeling. It's supposed to feel like glass. Right? The only variation is the temperature of the water in the aquarium. Probably might change temperature at the sides, but other than that, it should be good. You have to be mindful of the little pieces of silicone that inches out at the side. If you tend to pull them out, guys, what you're doing, you're actually pulling out the gasket that's at the side of the aquarium. So what is going to happen is that the water will end up going to start to spray out, right? So as best as possible, you get like a razor blade, and you'd cut the edges that are pushing out. Like this edge, as it's pushing out, you wouldn't draw it. You would take the razor blade and you'd cut it. No, you won't have to do all of this if you do purchase your aquarium, right? However, you're gonna still have to do water testing. If you purchase your aquarium second hand, you have to do the water testing. And to me, when you buy second-hand aquariums, your water testing time period, should I say, the time in which you have the water in the aquarium should be longer, being it that when silicone get warm, it expands, and when it gets cold, it contracts. And too much expanding and contraction, it results in the silicone itself cracking or breaking apart over time. And so you're gonna have to check to see whether or not one, your aquarium is made of silicone, or I can't pronounce the word, this black thing that they use at the side. It's similar to what they use on windscreen car glass to actually place them in. That also expands and contract with heat and cold, and the possibility of that cracking start to leak is much greater than the silicone itself. And I spoke to that in the last video in which I did regarding this 60 gallon. Now, I did cleaning on this aquarium, guys, already, right? I did cleaning on this aquarium already, in which I use kerosene oil as a solvent to rub the silicone that was on the glass itself, right? And after I've done that, I wait a little bit and I rub again, whether it be with a piece of cloth or a table napkin or a newspaper. And then after I've done that, I will get a different sheet of newspaper or table napkin, and I'll put some vinegar on it, and then I run through the glass again. What the vinegar does is to taper down the smell of the kerosene oil or the alcohol, whichever you're using. All right, so before delivery, guys, you can wash your aquarium. Do not use any detergent, just wash it with water, and your aquarium should be good. Right, allow your aquarium to dry. Wash it, allow it to dry by the sun naturally, and then you put your water in it, which you're going to be using for the keeping your fish. So yeah, this is how I do it as far as water testing is concerned. In a little tip note, this glass at the back is tinted, right? So what I do, the ends, tint is to tint a piece of glass, you use soap water, and the procedures, and I can't explain, but it's just so crazy cool, right? But so as to prevent the tint from lifting up in the future, in the near future that is, what I do, I take a little silicone, that's a small amount, and I place around the edges, and I just rub it down slightly, right? So what it does, it prevents air from going into the tint. And I don't do that with every section, I mostly do it with the corners, right? And and that should be it. So this aquarium is being water tested, and so far it is about 60% filled with water, and there's no apparent leakage within the system. It's hope that this video shed light, a little more light as to testing your aquarium before you start your adventure in fish keeping. This is Riley here for another episode of Fish Keeping Jamaica, guys. Peace out, catch you next time. Bye bye.